Good evening, fellas. Welcome to the stream. Okay. Let's see if somehow Streamlabs messed up the microphone settings again. I hope not. Normally it should be okay, but well, let me know if the sound or the mic sound is off in any way, so I can make some adjustments. Something is not right. I have no idea what it is. It's kind of weird. Normally I can see like it's very, for some reason it's not really like it. Normally like the bars, the volume bars, they're always present, but if I don't speak they don't show up at all, so I'm not really sure if the audio is actually on full volume, though it does say so. Very strange. Never had this happen before. Well, do let me know if I need to make some changes. I'm not really sure what changes I could do actually. Is that? I think this is better. I have no idea why it said volume, like put it in half volume. It's so weird. Okay, that's better. Yeah, that's better. Okay. Very strange. But okay, we got it fixed, I guess. So today we are going to continue working on episode 1 map 2, converting it into an underwater base, as the title says, part 2, or maybe 3 already, I don't know. I think it's part 2. So basically what we're gonna do is, you know, was originally a dusty environment, just like episode 1 map 1. As you can see, there's still remnants of this concept. Well, concept, actually it was a full level, so but we're gonna change that because I liked, like I said during the previous stream, I love to introduce some more wooden textures into this map, and I feel like, you know, this is a nice combination. So we'll see how it looks, but it's definitely something different than what I used to do. So I look forward to, you know, see where it leads to. So what we're gonna do is actually increasing this. Oh, hold on. Actually, do not want this. Select it. There we go. And we're probably gonna have to break this up a little bit. To add some more variation, but that's, you know, those are details. That's something for later. Let's create this window here. And apparently it's not the same height. But that is okay because we can actually make this a little deeper, I guess. So that's nothing to worry about, really. So let's see. Let's actually start by making a connection here. Oh, that's actually the same level. I didn't know. Okay. Well, in that case, let's see. So let's expand this window right here, and it is 16. Yeah. Actually do something like this. 8. Yeah, I think something like this could actually work. Do it like that. Hey Zombie, what is up, buddy? Welcome. How are you doing? Good to have you back. We could actually just... Which project? It's for my Doom 2 Annie mod. It's actually I'm kind of remastering the first episode. And this level was initially like, it looked a lot like the first map in episode 1, like a dusty base. But I kind of wanted to do something different this time, so I decided to... this works better. There we go. So I decided to do something completely different and turn it into an underwater base map. Yeah, that's actually better. Which, you know, I don't know. It's something to kind of shake up the existing map roster, and I felt like this map was really like, it looked a lot like, it was very similar to episode 1 map 1 in terms of looks, and you know, I do like to shake things up now and then, so that's why I went for a different style. And I think it will be like, it will still feel like it's a part of this episode. Like, you know, it looks like it could belong here. So it shares a lot of similarities, but with the texturing and the theme, general theme, it still feels like something fresh. Maybe you should actually, let's try the white. Let's see how it looks. To give it an opacity of 0.3. It might look better if I use the white texture instead of the yellow one, especially for the underwater part. Rabnel texture, and of course block everything. There we go. I'm not really sure if the yellow, like with this opacity, like the alpha of 0.3, I'm not really sure if it makes a huge difference if I choose the yellow or the white texture, but we'll see. We'll see in game. One thing, oh yeah, I forgot actually. I didn't get the underwater bubbles to work. So that's something we actually need to... Yeah. Is there a difference? Maybe. What I can actually try. I did use a different texture which really felt like a glass texture. I think it was this one. Which I think looked really cool. And we got a bit of Doom 3 textures in the mix here. Let's actually see. It's there's a little less detail on there, so you can actually see a little more of the outside, I guess. Does it look windowy enough? It does look like a window though, somewhat. Yeah. we might go for this one. So we need to actually remove the fade on this part. That will make a difference. There we go. And of course, change the texture. There we go. Okay. Yep. We have to stretch this a little further out. Which is kind of... Oh, wait a minute. No, that's weird. It's also line horizon. Then why is this gap here? That's not really normal. This is something like how it should be. No, it's here as well, I guess. I guess it's natural. Okay. Ooh, it's gonna be... I'm gonna need to stretch it pretty far out. I think. Now what we can do is of course add some more rocks here. Make it turn and, you know, hold on, got a better idea. Can we actually kind of something? Yeah, this actually, it will probably be safe to actually redesign this whole rock structure, because you know, it's easier to start from scratch, I guess, than to make this fit, because this still uses the old method. Where I use the slope bit. Like, you had these slope lines. But it's not really necessary anymore. You can actually just use vertex manipulation. But, you know, we can start by actually removing the trees. Or change them to weeds, I guess. Yeah, let's do it like that for now. And then we can create some more interesting rock structures. Let's see, there are some rocks available actually, but smaller ones. You can actually scale them. We might look into that. These are just things. Or I can just, you know, use sector detailing to actually model some rocks. Or I can use 3D models to create some very interesting rock structures. Well, I have to think about it. But I think this, if I were to do something like that, I would probably use an actual 3D modeling program instead of using it, doing it like the old, like in this editor. That is weird. This is not what I want. Horizontal 0.5. There we go. Alright. Okay, so what we now need to do is copy this thing, paste it here, flip it. There we go. There we go. Now it's connected. And we can actually join these. There we go. What are some underwater rocks? Doesn't really matter, I guess. Anything goes. Let's bring it a little closer in. We don't need that much detail here. Just make sure that it's not too symmetrical. Let's see, like that. Actually use something like this, a little easier to light. There we go. So we're gonna smoothen this out a little bit. That one really doesn't matter. It's only detail, but however, maybe for the auto map. Remove all the level detail on here, so it's easier if I have to select textures. Like here, actually you don't even see this one, so it's not really necessary. I could just save a little bit of unnecessary. Well, maybe just keep it. Also unnecessary. Okay, there we go. Is length 24. Do we have something of 24? Why did I go with 24 for that one? Oh, let's fix that easy. There we go. Lighting does so much for a map. Ah, because this is 24, of course. Makes sense. In that case, I guess we can keep it. Okay, never mind then. Okay, so starting point. think we have to make it a little rounder. Let's see. 20. This is a big texture. Really? Oh. Look at that. It's not gonna be perfect. These are actually pretty great for this kind of map. I feel like these bluish textures here, like these, I think they could actually, I don't know, they feel, they kind of look fitting for, like, I want to go for like a more, the general texture theme, like more like a decaying submarine style map, I guess. And these textures really, they look good actually. Well, not for this part, but so let's see where I can actually, maybe here. What if I... Oh wait, I did use these wood textures here. Metal. Calls for a bit of a generic texture. Or maybe this one's stretched out a little bit. Can we get away with that? Or what I can do, although it's not, yeah. Well, there's always a different solution, and that is actually using this technique. I don't really understand this texture. But, you know, perhaps you don't really... Hey, Esteban, what is up, buddy? Welcome. Yeah, I think so. It's something different, but, you know, I try to bring these maps into the new era, so to speak. So they will definitely be, like, at least visually be an improvement. Try to keep the map from a layout standpoint, you know, keep it very close to the original. Don't want to change too much. But like I always said, it's very hard to combine Doom 3 and Doom 2 textures. It's not easy. You have to... Maybe. Feel like in most of the time it's actually just experimenting with the textures, just slap some things on there and see what kind of sticks. Sometimes you just have to see it to get convinced. Station locked. Can I use that here? Maybe. It's not like... It doesn't have a nice trim around it. However, I might have an idea. Hold on. Probably be upside down. Yeah, it's so weird. Yeah, might not be worth the effort. Now, maybe I could just go with the red lights here. Like that. Might be overkill, I don't know. And then we can actually use this one. And this feels out of place. Is there anything more? Like they're totally different color schemes, so it's not easy. pale blue, I don't know. Might be a little too much of a mix here. Maybe I find something else in a bluish tint. You did do drawing for Coco's new suit. Okay, cool. I feel like I can do something with this for certain walls. Pretty cool as well. However, I feel I should probably change this one. Make it lean a little, like to make texture, to smooth it out a little bit. Maybe, I don't know. It's one of those moments where I don't feel it, like... I don't know, maybe this one wasn't so bad after all. For now, at least. It's really... Yeah, it's hard to combine these textures, to be honest. Good enough, there we go. So at least we got that part right. What I can do, however, I feel like these pillars could stay. However, we're gonna make some changes to them. First of all, let's remove the glass. Okay, oh, inside as well, of course. And we're gonna lower them. Huh? Okay. these could benefit from a different color light. Kind of like I'm gonna try to keep the blue, yellow and red mix here. I think that will suffice. What we're gonna do here, instead of this metallic structure, we're going to add a pipe, and I think 8 sides will do the trick. Let's see, 10? No. 12, like a nice round. Okay. So we're gonna add a pipe texture here. However, maybe. It's not. Maybe if we round off these corners. And we do it like so. That looks like absolute shit. Okay, might have not been the greatest idea. That is so weird about the GZ Doom undo thing. There are like certain moments where it doesn't undo anymore, and I don't know why. Okay, I think what I do want is actually I kind of want to widen this a little bit here. Or remove the pillars completely. I'm thinking about like I want to redesign, like make them visually a little more interesting here. However, these are going to be like encounters, and you kind of need the cover here. So what I was thinking. But maybe like build a structure here, a different one, like a massive pump or something, where you can duck behind. Let's see, let's actually remove these. To give us a little more space, we can actually, we can always make some changes here. Probably going to be like an ocean view. But it has to be like... You can't get in the way of the stairs here. Let's take that into account as well. What I can do actually, hold on. What if I move these away from here and maybe right there? Or move them further in. Maybe here. So we have some room for a nice structure here, like a massive pump or something. It kind of, which would break up. Hold on. Okay, let's actually free up some space. We can worry about the ceiling detail later. Start on the floor first, because that's, you know, where you'll be looking most of the time. I have to think about how I will construct this. Jesus Christ, man. Might have to fine-tune it a little bit. And bring this in a little closer, like that. Of course it doesn't... yeah. Jesus Christ. Holy shit, dude. kind of weird because this worked in the past. I could just move it as one sector. So weird. So what we need to do is actually, these are the outer parts. So we're gonna copy paste this right here. And for the inner parts, actually gonna start right here. So we're gonna remove these. I just hope this is gonna work out as intended. If not, I have to, you know, start over, I guess. So we're gonna need to do another thing like this right there. Okay. Oh wait, of course I have to. Yeah. Like that. Okay. It's not much of a pumping system. I'm not even sure if I can actually find the right textures. However, what I can do just a very experimental phase. I'm just gonna join these real quick, and I can always add to this, like add the ceiling back later, because it's a little easier to work like this instead of doing everything twice. Probably just use a very generic texture here. Not really sure if this idea is actually gonna work. Probably not. I feel like the thing gets in the way of, you know, I think it blocks the natural progress of the natural flow of the map. So I have to find something else. A little less obtrusive. What I can do is actually just add some floor detail without, you know, without having to make interfering changes, I guess. I'm not really sure what to do with this hallway. Like, I feel I could use some more detail. I could break up the floors, maybe. This is a very, very difficult texture to work with. Something like that, you know. For example, but it would have to match, of course. Jesus Christ, even that's difficult. Might not be the great, like the best texture for this. Well, what do you know? Okay. Well, this might open some other possibilities. I feel like it's a little too close. something like this. Where the hell do you guys come from? Were they always there in the beginning? What I'm probably gonna do is connect these pillars with some wires and actually bring these in a little closer to the center. There, perhaps. Yeah. So you have to worry about this middle side. If you want to go to the right, you get... okay, that's not too bad. If you want to dodge them, there's another attack waiting. Okay. And it kind of breaks up, as you can see. It kind of funnels you into... that's actually not a bad vista, to be honest. I ever feel like there's something missing here. Here, bring them. There, maybe. Let's have a look. Is that too close? Yeah. Should get in the way of this door. But that's actually a nice funnel. I guess, you know, it does look better with the lights, dynamic lights. There's nothing there. It will look better when, you know, the rocks are in place. What I do want here is actually, if you look at this, I kind of want to create like a water way that stretches into, just to communicate to the player. That this is the entrance to, you know, an underwater tunnel, actually, like in BioShock. You know, tunnels that connect different parts of the map. You can actually do that, like by gradually shifting the ground downwards, so we have enough room here. And then you could actually see the tunnel. Would have to just think about like the design. It's gonna need a lot of 3D floors. But that's actually okay. We can, you know, work with that. But those are details. We have to focus on, you know, actual gameplay first. So what I'm thinking about is using these lights here again. Or we create these massive openings, and to give you a closer look of the sea view, it's also possible. Or maybe like what also would be pretty cool is have these oxygen pipes. I think maybe can we do something with this to kind of try to draw that blue texture in. This is also a candidate for a window, actually. Unfortunately, it doesn't have a trim, as you can see. But you know, it would be, well, I guess you could create like a custom texture. Let's see if we can actually. This is also it could be a window texture. I feel if I am to use these bluish textures, I kind of feel like I would have to redesign the entire map, make it more compact, like an actual submarine. But that's not really be good for the gameplay that is established in episode 1, of course. Maybe there's a way like you do have these subtle variants. I kind of like this texture. I'm not really sure though if I'm not sure if it matches with anything else. Have to be careful. standard Doom 2 texture, that would be... Nah, these... color combination, maybe. If you try to blend them with some dynamic lights, you might get away with it. I think it mostly has to be this combination of wood and metal. One thing Doom 3 lacks is these good generic textures. They're all pretty well defined. Lots of trims. So that makes it a little harder to you know, fill in these walls. Because they have obviously repeating patterns, and that's something I like want, but only at the top and bottom in certain cases. I guess you could get away with that if you change these surrounding textures here. It's really, really hard. Can we do it something subtle like here maybe? By breaking up this wall perhaps? Can we do something with this? Well, then I would have to round it off like that. Just maybe sometimes it can help if you like add these small touches and then you start to change the map a little bit, and eventually you'll find your there we go. Not really sure. I feel like there's still... It... No, it has to be the other way around. What if I use a different texture with the pipe? Just can't remember where it was. Somewhere around here, yeah. I think we have to go for a subtle one. One mix count. Then we can try to what I did and what worked pretty well was I actually used Doom 2 textures and I made like an opening and then I added a Doom 3 texture inside it. Hey Tunes, what is up, buddy? Welcome. How are you doing? Let's see if we can actually try to pull something off like that. Like that. And here, for example. No, it doesn't always work like a charm, of course. Hold on. I have to do the shape like this, and then for example. And we close this off with a, well, Doom 2 texture actually. Ooh, can you show it? Something you don't see every day. That actually might not look too bad. Let's see. That front. No, it's not. Oh. The bronze. Haven't used this one. Now this might not be, unfortunately, these things are in the way. However, 48. Ooh. 56. Okay, so we got this mid bronze texture. Fortunately, this is. Can we actually? See, and this is, for example, how you would do something like that. Hold on. Oh, can I? Hold on. Wow, that's actually pretty great. Alright, here we go. Put it on screen for a minute. That's pretty great. Great use of texturing. This is not good. Not really satisfied with this. However, it's about the ideas behind it, like, you know, trying to experiment. And eventually, that's how it usually happens, I just land on something. For example, instead of these, we could try to fit them in here. I think if we use the proper lighting, I think it can match. But holy shit, is it hard. What I was thinking, I do like the lights. What if we replace these with a little Doom 3, 5? Something with lights that always does, like, you know, always does help, like this with the bright maps. Lighting, yeah, you know, lighting, it's okay. I think it's the finding the right texture. I feel like I might have, you know, if I had to choose again, I probably would use a different texture pack than Doom 3. It can work, like, when it clicks, I feel like it's magic, but it's really hard. These lights also help quite a lot, actually. Maybe I can actually start by introducing these somewhere. But I'm not really sure where to put them exactly. Maybe not in the opening area. I feel like this map is like the texturing is already so established. It's hard to come up with something that works. Like this is more like a narrow point, so I feel like we might have something here. Maybe I should just be very minimal with the new textures here. Can we do something with this? I don't know. I feel like this might be a good, you know, point where I kind of start introducing. Although maybe here. I feel like that's like a little bit of lost space. We could do something with this. Let me think. Color theory. Oh yeah. Well, if you have to, like, yeah, if you, when it comes to drawing, absolutely. Here's, it's easy. You can actually experiment really fast by just switching up dynamic light. So in terms of level design, I mean, it's not the same as you have to draw and you have to keep lighting into account. When you're making levels, you know, it's very easy to switch things around, see what works, what sticks when you draw. You know, you might have to revert to, like, it's harder because you have to calculate where the light comes in and stuff like that. Whereas in level design, like, the engine does it for you, really. You just place a dynamic light, at least in this one. You place a dynamic light and it just shines. You don't have to worry about which angle, you know. It's all calculated, so. Well, true, if you have to have good layering, of course. But it's the hardest part is, like, how does... You have to take, like, you know, if you mix some lights here, like you have a little, like a red light and a blue light, and they're very close together, like there's not really an issue. But in pixel art, for example, you have to like know which color does it produce in the middle, and which surfaces reflect and how they reflect colors. You know, it's very complicated, you know. But if you have like an engine, it actually basically does it for you, so yeah. What was I texturing? Oh, this one, oh yeah. We might have one, a pretty generic one, but it might work. I feel like nothing works here. I don't know, this is probably the hardest level when it comes to texturing. Maybe I should just... Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Shadows. Yeah. Are there extensive documents on shadows, light and shadows? Wow. I feel this today has been more like an experimental phase, where I try to throw some things at the map and almost nothing seemed to just stick. But you know, it might sometimes I might be too much focused on the Doom 3 textures, trying to implement them, force them into the map. Well, I could actually basically just, like this one is, but I could just, you know, use them to like keep them to a minimum, because it might not always be necessary. Like in this case, the main thing is like metal, right? Because it's underwater. So you might actually just get away with that. Yeah, you can actually make everything emit light up. Absolutely. There we go. Okay. I'm just I'm gonna leave this to rest. Just focus on, there's a mosquito somewhere, I think. Just try to focus on, you know, just clear my mind and maybe I can come up with something. Maybe get some inspiration somewhere, I don't know. Like what to do with this map. But like I said, it might be suited somewhere else, like here for example. Might be easier to actually change up the textures, because I feel like in an underwater base, I could change these up. I know, so there's room for the Doom 2 or the Doom 3 textures. There is definitely room. Just have to find that moment where I can really engage and just start to using them more. Only small, yeah. You know, I always say I'm gonna make a small map, but it usually ends up bigger than I anticipated. I don't know why. This map, in comparison to, of course, like modern Quake maps or anything, this is fairly small. I did make larger maps, but you know, I feel like small focused maps sometimes can be more fun than these really large open maps. But you know, we'll see. I will be returning. Normally I should be returning this week. And then hopefully I get some fresh ideas to use. This bridge is gonna be replaced with an underwater walkway, like in BioShock. So these bridges here. And then you get a very nice view of the ocean. The bottom of the ocean, to be more specific. So yeah, I think, you know, I think it was a good choice to go for like underwater theme, because I haven't used it anywhere, and I think this map really is very well suited for that. So we're definitely going to continue with that, but you know, I have to find good placement for these textures. Maybe if I only if I can find some way to use them subtly here. Even if it's with certain lights, maybe change up some lights, or these pillars, maybe this part. I don't know. We'll see. Or maybe like use a few Quake 2 textures, because these like chunky metal plates or something. I don't know. We'll have to see. I'm gonna leave it for now. Leave it to rest for now, and I will be returning, and then we can continue hopefully with a. With some more inspiration. But yeah, the good part is that the layout is finished and it needs like minimal change. So it's not like I have to come up with some entire map design or anything. It's just improving where I feel like improvement is needed. So okay, I'm gonna leave it at that. Thank you so much for watching, fellas. Have a great evening, and I will see you soon. Take care.